Call the meeting to order. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Heather, would you take roll, please?
Commissioner Bidwell,
Here.
Commissioner Corbin,
Here.
Commissioner Wire,
Here.
Commissioner Shaw,
Here.
Mayor Lindsay.
Here. You have before you the agenda for this evening.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. You have before you the consent calendar. Anything on there anyone wants to discuss? If not, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve the consent calendar as presented.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Under unfinished business, second reading of ordinance number 1665, permitting the sale of fireworks. Is there any further discussion on this? If not, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve second reading of ordinance number 1665. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Under new business, hearing on the wastewater improvement project, up to $2,692,547.81. South Dakota Board of Water and Natural Resources. Ryan, would you like to address this?
And then I think Mason from First District, he's an economic development officer from First District is also on. And
Mason, can you hear us okay? I thought I saw his, Mason, can you hear us?
Yes, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. Very good. Just wanted to make sure you were there. Okay, go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, so the purpose of these public hearings is just to give an overview of the project and then that we're applying for funds for, and then, you know, allow the public any input should they have any, if there's any questions or discussions needed. And these are separated into wastewater and drinking water. We can try to summarize these together, but they are separate, and there just may be some overlap along the way as we discuss these projects. I think I'll maybe let Matt kind of give a background on the project and get us going here.
Sure. So these hearings have a pretty specific set of items that we need to cover, and I kind of have them organized by checking those boxes essentially. So starting with the sewer, the first thing we need to cover is the need for the project. So this is part of the overall reconstruction project that we've been visiting about over the last few months. The sewer system, you have a mix of 8-inch, 10-inch, and 12-inch, mostly clay pipe throughout the corridor. And this, we're talking on Egan from 2nd to 9th. And it's approximately located in the southbound lane, about 16 to 18 feet east of the water main. And there's about 42 services connected to the sewer. Storm drainage is also part of the sewer one. You have inlets on the west side of Egan at 3rd Street, at the 3rd Street intersection that discharge to Park Creek via a 12-inch clay pipe. You have 12-inch clay main at the 4th Street intersection from 4th Street that connects to the box culvert that the creek goes underneath Egan. You also, yep.
Question. We're talking wastewater here, meaning sewer or storm?
So in.
Okay, so
in
storm
SRF
sewer enters in and is the one that empties into the creek.
No, yes, storm.
I just
yep,
wanted to clarify that
Yep.
because,
No,
you know, if someone at home thought, wow, we're emptying the sewer into the creek and that, they're gonna be a little unhappy.
yep.
Thank you.
Yeah, so it's both systems under this one SRF application section. At Fourth Street, you have the 12-inch clay main that connects to the box culvert. You have inlets on the west side of Egan that connect to the box culvert via an 18-inch RCP. And inlets on the east side of Egan that connects to the box culvert via another 18-inch RCP. Basically, either side of the box culvert, essentially. At the Fifth Street intersection, you have inlets in the northeast and northwest corners. They run south along Egan through Memorial Park to Park Creek via an unknown pipe. And then the inlets at that location are completely plugged with soil, so they obviously haven't been working for quite some time. And then at the 7th and 8th intersections, you have inlets from DSU property that run into the intersection of 7th. There's also inlets on the east side of 8th Street intersection and the east along 8th Street. They run to 7th via a 33-inch pipe and a 48-inch RCP. And then the 48-inch runs down 7th for westward towards the creek. As far as your existing systems and issues that you have, the sewer is beyond its service life. Clay pipe is well beyond what should be used for sewer these days. It's also known to have loose joints and will break over time, especially when considering the construction activities that we're going to be doing with reconstruction of the road. There's also concerns with those loose joints and roots and things like that, stormwater and groundwater is going to get into your sewer system, which causes issues down at the plant. And then, yeah, like I said, those issues are just made worse when you start running heavy equipment over it, rebuilding the street above it. Typically, if you're rebuilding these streets, you're almost always rebuilding these systems because they just can't hold up to that type of loads. On the storm sewer side, the most of the mains and inlets are well beyond their service life. Some of them are starting to break down. Obviously, we've already noted the curbs and inlets are in pretty poor condition. In some cases, they don't even exist anymore. So there's nothing really directing the water to the inlets. The inlets don't really meet current standards. And there's flat slopes in those curbs, so you have water ponding, excess water ponding on the road that aren't even getting into the storm drain system. And they're also undersized. So as part of the SRF process, we're required to look at 3 alternatives. One of them is no action. That's basically doing nothing. And corresponding to that is what we'll call a no cost, but it is your ongoing maintenance cost that you're already doing, and that's going to escalate as you go, as these systems get older and older and break down more and more. Alternative 2 is a trenchless option. That would be lining of the sewer main or the storm mains. That has a estimated cost of $2,692,547.81. One of the issues with that is, like I said, you're going to be reconstructing the street anyway. So, doing a trenchless option doesn't really save you anything. That would be a more feasible option if the street was going to stay or if it was in good condition and you were just needing to replace the sewer. In addition, while those linings do have some structural rigidity to them, like I said, the main pipe is going to break down as you do the street construction even more. So there's no guarantee that necessarily that liner will hold up for you. Additionally, with these being nearly 80 years old, you don't have good records on where the services are, and may have to end up digging up a bunch of them anyway. So again, the trenchless option doesn't really suit this purpose really well. The third alternative is open trench of the sanitary and storm mains, and that would be your typical where we dig up the trenches and we replace the whole pipe. That may be in place of the existing pipe, or it may be in a new alignment, depending on what works out with the overall design of the street.
Hey,
Yeah.
I have a question on the trenchless. Did you ever look in a way to do trenchless and then line the laterals as well into the?
No, again, there would be, because you would have to dig up the lateral, I mean, unless you're digging up the person's yard. You're gonna have to dig up the street, so then it defeats the purpose.
Oh.
But if you're replacing the main. Again, I don't think that necessarily helps you either, because if you're replacing the main, you might as well replace the lateral, at least to the right of way.
I agree.
So yeah, in any case, I don't think that that's necessarily a feasible option as long as you're already tearing up the street.
Yeah,
It-
I just brought it up
Yep.
because we're doing that right now, an RD project, and it annoys me to no end.
Typically, these trenchless options I've seen work well, like in, heavy urban areas like downtowns.
Right.
Where, you know, the streets are probably in good condition. You don't need to tear those up for another 20, 30 years, but your sewer is probably in bad shape. So getting back to the, traditional trenching option is $2,692,547.81. And, like I said, that would be the standard dig up the street. The things that we're basically already planning for as part of the reconstruction. So that is the alternative that we are proposing at this time, and what we are moving forward in the SRF loan application.
Ever
So
look
that-
into pipe bursting?
That is typically for water main more than sewer main.
Oh, right, I'll
Yep.
bring that up in the next hearing. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And again, that is difficult because you're making the void bigger. You have to dig up every place that you're crossing something. So then again, what does it really save you?
I'd just like to see it done.
Yeah.
So
I
now
don't
on
know.
this one here, the 2,692,000 plus,
Mhm.
this is putting in new sewer
Correct,
line.
new everything, everything within the right of way would be replaced with new, plastic pipe essentially.
And again, it's on the wastewater side that we're talking right now.
Correct.
What size are the mains?
They range currently between 8 inch, 10 inch and 12 inch, and we would put back either the same size or larger.
Does it drain down to Highway 34? I mean, does it get bigger as it goes down?
Portion of it goes
Or is it?
There's a
east, I
split.
believe.
There's a split in the middle of it, and then it goes east.
It doesn't cross the creek. So a portion of it comes down to, what is it, Third, and then goes east.
Yes,
And then the other portion goes south to Second, right?
exactly. Yep.
Well, it has to cross the creek somewhere, so does it go over to Washington and
There's a
then down?
split system, so then everything north of it goes.
North-south section.
Okay, but how does it get out sewer treatment plant?
Is it pumped?
Is it, no, it's not, I know it's not.
It's gravity all right.
Yeah, but
So
I mean,
it
does
turns
it go down
there,
Washington?
yes, yeah.
Okay,
Goes
so
east
it
to
goes
Washington.
east on Third and then hits Washington and then goes south on Washington.
Yep.
Okay, very good.
So then I believe Mason has some financial components that he needs to cover.
Mason, are you ready?
Hi there, are you guys able to hear me?
We are, yes.
Wonderful. Okay, so yes, Alex was originally supposed to be in here, but I think she's sick, and so she's kind of just giving me the duties tonight, but she put together an amortization schedule. And so regarding the clean water project, let's see here, if that gets 100% loan, 0% grant, each connection is going to increase $5.32 per month. That'll bring the connections to $54.62 each month. And then if it gets 75% loan and 25% grant, which I think is typically more standard to shoot for, then each connection increases $3.99 per month, which will bring connections to $53.29 per month total.
Does that factor in our existing projects?
It's supposed to, yep.
Jason, is that target rate from Danner, is that $55 for 5,000 gallons for both water and sewer? Is that still what Danner calls the affordable rate?
I believe so. To my knowledge, it is, yeah.
And this is proposing that all of the revenue for paying back the SRF loan would be from the rate increase, correct?
Yep.
And do you guys have an interest rate?
I have to look at sorry, I need to go back to the document that she sent me. I don't have the interest rate on hand. But I can definitely do some digging and come up with that for you guys.
75-25 would be 75% local, 25
3.25%.
state and federal.
So that would be loan and grant.
Yeah,
So-
but I mean, the grant would be the 25.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
That was what I was after.
25 grant.
The 25% would be grant. Any questions?
Well, when we received the ARPA funding, we agreed to get our rates up to $55 for the, in order to get, we got 5 or 10% for grant money. We're going there anyway. I kind of wish we would have put together like a capital improvement fund with self-funding. So we would have already been there. Oh, well.
Any other questions or comments? So that covers,
What's the total project cost actually? Because this is just covering, what does this cover? Like 12 feet over the pipe or something? to the
Yeah,
street?
something like that. It would be the trench extents, so it includes the pipe, digging down, putting in the new pipe, and then also replacing the surface. So a portion of the paving is being paid for as part of this. So that's less paving that you would pay on whatever other funding you're using for the rest of the project.
What's, I know we're not at the drinking water, hearing, but these two, plus there should be another bucket of money, right?
Correct.
And what's the total project? What are you guessing right now?
I think we were at 7.5 or 8 million as of the last full project estimate. The water and sewer together is something like 5.5 million. And then we are likely looking at somewhere in the range of 1.5 million for the transportation alternatives grant. But that application doesn't happen until summer, so we're a ways out on that.
Thank you.
That would be the sidewalk, the
Yeah.
bump outs, all
Yeah.
that stuff.
Yep.
any other questions or anything on number 11? Okay. So then do we want, there's no motion required on this, and this is the hearing portion. Number 12 on the drinking water side.
So similar to the sewer. This would be replacing all of the water main in the corridor in Egan from 2nd to 9th. Your existing conditions, you have 4 and 6-inch cast iron water mains. They're mainly within the southbound lane, about 13 feet east of the existing curb. You have 34 water services along the corridor. That number differs from the sewer. I'm assuming some of them must be served off of an alley main or something like that.
From what we found in other projects, I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah.
Some of the issues that arise with cast iron mains, these are again 80+ years old. They're beyond their service life. Cast iron is notorious for having pinholes and breaks and being brittle. And having corrosion. I've seen cast iron mains that, they might have started as a 6-inch, but over the years they neck down and might only be 2-inch. So you're not getting really good flow out of them, things like that. Having breaks and things cause more stress to the maintenance crew, and you have to go out and do projects. Typically it's, in the dead of winter when you have to do them. So that's one thing. The next biggest thing is that they're undersized for fire flows. So you have fire hydrants hooked up to it right now, technically, they're not supposed to be because the velocities needed to get fire flows in those hydrants would collapse the main. So typically, we size everything in as far as a main in towns to about 8 inch. And then you have 6 inch leads from that 8 inch to your fire hydrant.
Might get to scare people.
Well, likely, it's because we designed to a 1,500 gallon a minute fire flow, and likely most cities don't get that. You know, they might only get 800 gallons a minute, so then you're perfectly fine. But it's the standard for designing water mains is 1,500 gallons a minute.
Are you gonna put the water main back where it is now? Are you gonna move it anywhere within the right of way?
Generally, I believe both are planned to be in the southbound lanes. I think they're generally gonna be in the same spot. However, we are hoping we can adjust the water main enough, we don't have to take the old main out. So the standard practice in replacing water mains is you put it, you know, maybe 5 feet, you know, either side of the existing one. And you can leave the existing one in place. That saves you expense of having to dig it up and dispose of it.
Does the city cover the cost from the curb stop to the main?
No, we don't.
So the people on the
Well,
west side of.
Oh, for this project, yeah.
Well, no, in the future, when they, when their water line breaks, and they've got a super long service line.
Yeah, so with this project, we would install new services out to the curb stop,
Right.
but then beyond that, it would be their.
What are your thoughts on putting the water main closer to the wider median we're gonna have, so if and when it breaks, we don't tear up a bunch of street?
Well, you're gonna have lights in the median, so that's one
I
thing.
don't worry about that. Electric department has a lot of money.
The other concern about that is how it interacts with your sewer services.
Yeah,
Cause those basically can't change. So, you know, whether that means you have to dig the water deeper to get under the service or not, you know, we haven't necessarily looked at that. But typically, we try to put sewer back in place where the existing one was. And water usually 5 feet either side, depending on where we can go. The other thing about keeping them in the southbound lanes is the phasing that we've discussed, where we can do half of Egan at a time. It makes it a lot easier if they're both in the same direction of lanes, essentially.
Now, Ryan, don't we have some of it that goes up, jogs over, goes up, comes back?
Yeah,
And so, regardless of which side you start on, we're still gonna be
Somewhat, yeah.
encroaching on the other side during some of it.
Yeah.
Part of the project.
Yeah.
And that's just because of the way the beast is.
Yep.
Okay,
The last item to address is lead services. We don't know the extent of lead services, but it is likely that there are lead services in this area just based on the age. And yeah, I believe you guys are in the process of going through your lead inventory. There may be funding at some point down the road to replace those lead services as well. So this would be a good time to make sure you know which ones are which and to try and engage that funding if or when it comes through. Similar to the sewer side, we were required to look at 3 alternatives. The first one being no action again. Like I said, that's not necessarily a construction cost, but that is an ongoing maintenance cost that you guys are gonna have to deal with, you know, year in and year out as these get older and older. We looked at a trenchless option. That cost would be about $1,594,414.29. But again, the same issues with the sewer mains, where you're already gonna be tearing up the street, the trenchless doesn't really save you that much. And, you know, as I said before, likely it would be some sort of pipe bursting operation. Well, you have to dig up every location where you're crossing some other utility in pipe bursting. So you end up with that, instead of having one long trench, you're digging up, you know, 500 different holes along that trench line. So it's not really saving you anything. Where that would be more applicable is if the water main was by itself in, you know, maybe like an alley where there aren't utilities crossing it. So that's that's one of the reasons why we leaned towards the third alternative, which is open trenching. That's your standard replacement of the main. Basically replace every pipe and every fitting, every service within the corridor. And that comes out to $2,645,916.48. And then I think it goes back to Mason for the financial portion.
All right, yep, so for the drinking water project, if it gets 100% loan, 0% grant, each connection increases $5.04 per month, which should bring the connections to $48.74 per month. And then if it receives 75% loan, 25% grant, each connection should increase $3.78, which would bring them to $47.48 per month.
And again, that assumes that all of the revenue for repayment of the loan is through increase in rates. And it's the same interest rate of 3.25.
Yes, I believe it is.
Thank you. Questions at all? Comments?
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for listening.
All right, so we'll move from the hearing to number 13. Adopt resolution 2024-06. Wastewater SRF authorizing resolution.
Motion to approve the resolution.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 14, adopt resolution 2024-07, drinking water SRF authorizing resolution. Do we have a motion or comments?
Motion to approve the resolution.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, number 15. Award bid of water system improvements, segment 5A, BAI number 23-983.05.00 to Asphalt Surfacing Company. Ryan, would you want to address that?
Yeah, thank you. So we held a bid opening for this segment on the 26th, I believe. Or 27th, excuse me. The low bid is approximately $4.4 million, which is on the lower end of our estimated range of $4.25 to $5 million. This keeps us in good standing for where we're going overall with our SRF projects. This project, South Union Avenue from Southwest 4th Street to Southwest 7th Street, and Southwest 4th Street from Union Avenue to Highland Avenue. This is new streets, new curb and gutter, new sanitary sewer, water main and storm sewer system. We felt the bids that we received were good. We received 5 bids and they were all pretty close together. We contacted the contractor and they're comfortable with their bid and we would recommend approval.
Questions, comments?
We did borings,
Yes.
yeah, those came back.
Showing a lot of water. There's gonna be a lot of dewatering needed. A lot of that cost is actually the dewatering. We didn't want the contractor to go in there blind or end up with large change orders for the dewatering, so we've done some pretty extensive boring to determine that was gonna be necessary, so it's going to make that a much more complex project. So we've got that project broken into 2 parts. We'll complete phase A this year, which would be the South Union portion, and then phase B, the 4th Street portion, the year after.
Other questions?
I'll make a motion to award bid of water system improvements, segment 5A to Asphalt Surfacing Company. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 16, award bid of water system improvements, segment 2, BAI number 23983.02.00 to Asphalt Surfacing Company. Again, Ryan, you want to address that one?
Yeah, thank you. We held the bid opening for this segment of the SRF projects on the 29th. The lowest bid is approximately 1.7 million, which is in the middle of our estimated range of 1.5 to 2 million. As was the case with the segment 5A project, this project has a positive impact on us staying on par with where we thought we'd be with our SRF projects. In fact, it's a little bit lower, and so that helps us on future segments. Again, this is a complete street reconstruction. This would be North Union Avenue from 5th to 9th. This project's a lot more straightforward, so it's a one-year project, and this would allow ASCO Asphalt Surfacing Company to come to town and complete both of our segments this year, and we think that that'll probably be a good thing for us, and we would recommend approval of this one as well.
So do they do their own excavating?
They don't, so they'll work with another company called Underground Solutions, I believe they're called. We've worked with the gentleman who runs that company, but he was with a different construction company at the time, so. Yeah, and we've never actually worked with Underground Solutions, but we've worked with some of the staff that are from that company, because they used to be with First Rate Excavating. So we're familiar with people, just not the name of the company.
How about ASCO? Are we familiar with them?
Yeah, we are. They've done quite a few paving jobs around town. They did our airport project last year. It was a success. They finished ahead of schedule and on budget. So we're very happy with their work there. Their coordination of their subcontractors is excellent.
And they're timely?
Yeah, they were timely. They're good communicators. Yeah, we've been really happy with them.
But they were the only ones that bid this second part?
No, I'm sorry. So there were 4 bidders, and the range of those bids were from 1.7 to almost $1.8 million. So very, very tight. Again, we feel like we got really good bids here.
Any other questions? Comments? If not, do we have a motion?
Make a motion to award the bid of water system improvement segment 2 to Asphalt Surfacing Company.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 17, award bid number 945, Public Works Building Restoration to Hague Construction LLC. Again, Ryan, you want to address that?
Yeah, thank you. The bid opening for this was held on the 26th, with the lowest bidder being Hague Construction LLC, as you mentioned. Hague Construction was awarded the Waterworks building project last year, and we were pretty happy with their work. Awarding this project is going to be far less straightforward than the prior two. There was a budget misunderstanding, I think, at budget time. There were 2 components that were supposed to go into the budgeting for this project. One component was the metal materials and mechanical system, which our office came up with an estimate for, and that was $375,000. And then there was the electrical system portion that the electrical engineer had supplied, and that portion was $250,000. Somehow, and I'm still not clear on what happened, but somehow the $375,000 amount was the only one that was incorporated into the budget. So while the intent was to have a $625,000 budget, it was only $375,000. Now we opened up the bids, and the lowest bidder is $644,544. So we're very, very short on budget. So this project has had its share of setbacks already. They tried to bid it out once before, and it was during the COVID time, and it came in over budget. And then last year, in 2022, we were going to bid it again. And when my office looked at the building, we looked and said, well, we're not gonna be able to replace the metal without the electrical system being replaced as well. And there was no budget for the electric then, and so we decided to go back this year and try again, and now we have this budget issue, so. I guess your choices here are to try to find the money, the additional $226,000 to supplement this and award the bid, or reject all bids and we'll give it a go next year, and I think that's kind of.
So the portion of the 375 was for everything but the electrical, right?
Correct.
So, I'm at this point in time in that I'm just curious as to whether or not we'd have the 200 and some in the electric department budget to make up that shortfall to keep the project moving forward.
Oh,
Yes,
you'll
this
use
would be-
electric department money?
For electric,
This would be the
it's
public.
electric,
It's a water building.
oh, this is in the water.
This
building.
is the public.
In the water building. Okay, then the question would be, in the water department, at this point in time, I don't have an answer on that question, and I didn't see in here where Jameson answered it either, other than asking for, putting it before us. So what are you guys' thoughts?
We've kicked the can down the road on this project for 4 years, 3 or 4 years. And we've got to get this done. I mean, it's had its fair share of contentious meetings, to say the least. And it's unfortunate that the electric piece got left out. But I have a hard time believing we can't come up with the money and,
I feel like a combination of water, wastewater has,
yeah.
still has money, and then, had to go general, fund, or do contingency. So
Yeah, I'm
I
supportive
wanna move
of
forward.
moving forward, no question. So,
This isn't something you'd want to table, or do we have the option to table for one meeting period and then get our ducks in a row?
You guys never table my stuff. Motion to award bid number 945, Works Building Restoration and New Construction.
Second,
all right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carries. All right, number 18, authorize the mayor to sign the Economic Development Administration Site Certificate. And Ryan, would you want to address that for Brooke?
Yeah, so this is an item that, it's a box that needs to be checked for the EDA project that, the LAIC and the city are working on. The LAIC had applied for a grant for this project and was ultimately awarded $3.6 million in grant funding. Due to the requirement of the grant, the city is actually the official applicant, and then we play a large role in this as well. So one of our roles is this component where you need the mayor's signature to indicate that we'll not use the power of eminent domain for, in connection with any property. The H plats, which would be the highway plats that give us the right of way, those have already been recorded in our city right away, so there will be no need for eminent domain. I don't think there's any danger in signing this. I would recommend you do so.
And on this particular thing here too, and that David Jenks has already, looked everything over and signed off on it as well, so.
Make a motion to authorize the mayor to sign EDA site certificate.
second,
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. March project updates. Again, Ryan, would you want to address that?
Yeah, so this is the second monthly installment of the project updates. Jameson started this last month, and I thought it was a very positive thing to share positive things about what's going on in the city with you. Want to go to that first slide?
Too far.
So a little update on the election or lack thereof, both for city commission, and I had asked the school district if I could go ahead and share information on theirs. Two city commission positions were open and 2 petitions were received, as you're well aware. So there'll be no election held for city commission. Incoming city commissioners will be sworn into office in May. This is quite bittersweet. I will, on behalf of staff, we'll sure miss, Mr. Corbin, but we're looking forward to new ideas, and that's a good thing for the city too, so. And then 3 school board positions are open and 2 petitions were received, so they won't hold an election either. But they'll be looking to appoint a new member. I have some experience with the school board, and I would encourage anyone who has interest, from the public. I would strongly encourage them to consider it. It's very, very rewarding, and I think they should reach out to the district to find more. And if they have the time and the willingness to serve, I think that would be a wonderful thing. Next slide. So boards and committees within the city, we have some various ones coming open in April. Airport Board, Parks and Rec Board, and Planning Commission. Airport has 1 position open, as it does the Parks and Rec Board, and the Planning Commission has 3 positions. City has an application form that needs to be filled out and returned to the city administrator for those interested. This form is both for current committee board members wanting to continue to serve, as well as individuals not currently on boards that are interested. The city typically gives current board members a heads up that their term is ending, and we have done that, I think. I've done that with the planning commission. I've already got 2 of those back. So, as with the elected positions, I mean, these are really critically important to the success of the city. And so we would encourage anyone with a desire to serve in that capacity to consider that too. And you never know, sometimes it can lead to other opportunities. Sometimes you might apply for one board and aren't selected, but you might slot into another position. So those willing to serve should come forward. We'd be happy to accept your form. City employment positions, sold bittersweet too. Full-time positions, community center director. I think the current director is outstanding, so Nate's loser, but that is what it is. So for the full-time position, that community center director will continue the work of the current one, who has led the vision and strategic direction of the community center while managing budgetary resources effectively in order to foster a positive engagement with the community. I think that's a huge part of this. So if you are someone or know someone that's skilled in various areas like staff development and policy and process improvement and community engagement, this might be a good position for you. If you're someone interested in a temporary summer job, helping out the Parks Department and interested in maintaining and enhancing our community parks and ball diamonds, these 3 part-time positions are a fantastic opportunity. The flower and garden assistant, kind of some of their duties would be including but not limited to planting, weeding and watering flowers, and the park maintenance positions, both 1 and 2, would perform ball diamond maintenance duties, mowing parks and other city-owned properties, preventative maintenance of equipment, and basic janitorial duties and garbage. I have experience with this as well. Personally, my first job I ever had was working for a city in a park department when I was in high school, and it led to other avenues for me too, because I was very interested in city workings, and ultimately was a big component in my career choices. So, and help me earn a little cash in the summertime. So it's good for other folks trying to do the same things. Recent events we've had, as far as recent happenings around Madison, the Tamale Day event was held February 10th. There was 15 community members who attended. It was a great number. They anticipated a cap of 12, but they allowed 15. The success, the library director, Lisa Morton, said they'll be looking forward to more programs like this in the future. She remarked that this was a wonderful way for community members of all education levels and different languages to meet, interact, and learn from each other. So it sounded like it was a great event. Upcoming activity through the library is called the Roku Checkout. This is a component of where we're going. Due to streaming services, DVD checkouts have declined to nearly nothing. So to keep their collections useful and relevant to the community, Systems Library, Melanie Ergo is creating a collection of Roku sticks, and they have one streaming service per stick. Examples of those services would be Paramount, Max, Hulu, and Peacock. And for details, someone can contact Melanie or Lisa. They'd be happy to answer any questions, and they'd love to roll that out soon. Ongoing events, a couple of reminders, the STEAM program, STEAM standing for Science, Technology, Engineering, Art, and Math. That started in January and runs on Wednesdays from 3 to 5. This is a program for elementary age kids. Renee Lehman, who is the city's new programs coordinator, has taken this on. And I've been told the kids really enjoy the robots, so. Music Makers is another, it's an opportunity for children to learn music appreciation and dance. These are Mondays from 6 to 6:30, so if we hurry up and get out of here, we can maybe catch a little bit. Then monthly trivia. This trivia night takes place the first Thursday of the month at 7 o'clock at the Office Bar and Grill. On the slide there, in the middle, kind of there on the left, is a picture of the recent victors. I believe their team name was Professor Stereotypes or something like that. So they were the champs of the 4-round tournament, and judging by the look on their face, a good time was had by all. And then finally, the community center, free Friday activities are open to public every Friday from 6 to 8 p.m. And then open gym at the Armory year round. So lots of good things happening. Next slide. Miscellaneous improvements in our departments. We're currently in design and bid phases for the Public Works building restoration. Again, we held that bid opening. We talked about that earlier. 2024 sidewalk bid opening will be March 5th, so that's actually tomorrow. This is the annual construction of our new and repair of existing sidewalks. This would be in the northwest part of town this year. And then we're working to assist the fire department with a generator bid. They applied for a grant in October of 2022, and the grant was received in December of 23. So my office will look to assist in the bidding documents and specs and get that out to bidders and in front of them. And then restrooms at Memorial and Topman Park, we have a plan. We'd like to open bids on that March 28th. This should be a great addition to those parks and eliminate the need to pay portable toilets and the pain in the neck they are with maintenance. So we've completed the floor plan and the detailed drawings. We just have a few more things to finish up on the bid specs and the bid forms, and then we'll get that out to bidders. This is a project that was budgeted, and looking forward to it. And then the library ramps, those library ramps have really degraded, and they have a bad need for repair. And so we've been looking at designing those to improve ease of maintenance, and then also maintain the accessibility of the ramps. That's a much needed project, and we've been working with Lisa on that one. Briefly, the SRF segment projects, I'll just kind of give you an update. Jameson had these on the prior, and just give you a little brief update on what's changed since last month. The contractor on segment 3, which is that Roosevelt area, they've shared they'd like to resume work in around mid-April if the weather allows it. Segment 5A and segment 2 we awarded earlier. CIPP lining projects underway, areas covered by these 2 lining projects in the rural development areas where J&J Earthworks and Homing Incorporated were working the last few years. As Jeremiah kind of alluded to earlier, this would be lining the main, does not line the services. When we had initially went out to bid with this project, we had lining services out to a certain footage in the plan. We received no bids from the contractors. And upon reaching out, they said that that was part of the reason. So when we negotiated with the contractor at HK Solutions, we had removed the lining of those services. This is something we can go back and do sometime in the future. So for now, it's just the mains. And then last,
What else did Jeremiah say about it?
that he didn't care for that, which I understand. So not lining the services kept us in budget. I mean, we're allowed to stay within our budget. But, it was a big part of that was then the contractor was gonna have to try to find another subcontractor, and they were having trouble getting that done. So we were disappointed as well. I mean, we weren't gonna take it out to the house anyway, but, that was something that.
I just don't understand why we're lining it if it was good enough to stay there when we tore the street apart.
We had identified these as a lining candidate when we had done the RD projects. And so this was a plan all along, to do this. We felt they were good enough that we didn't need to replace the mains. We felt the mains were of adequate size and that they were candidates for lining. So we don't like to not dig them up, but, it was the plan to do this, so.
Still didn't understand it. Anyway.
Sure. Yeah, and if you have any other questions, I mean, now we're later, I'd be happy to chat with you about that. Bids will be open for the Park Creek Rock Wall sites 1 and 3. Site 1 is north of 7th Street, and between Egan Avenue and North Avenue is site 3. No bid date set for that site 2. Talked to Banner today, they're still working on finishing up those plans, and then we'll set a bid date for that. Next is the water tower. The work is nearly complete. Controls and programming connected to the water plant SCADA is complete. Towers built, disinfection's passed, and we have a substantial completion walkthrough scheduled for March 13th. That will be city staff, Banner, and the contractor Caldwell Tanks. The city administration building, most recent milestone completed is one that's visual. They completed the steel stairway construction in front of the building. They're working on the rest of the structural steel and decking. They're looking to complete that around the 11th and seem to be on track. And then roofing, they're looking at doing that milestone on the 25th. Estimated completion still at October 2024. That hasn't changed. And then the First Bank and Trust Sportsplex, soon that will go live. The city assumed ownership in January. It's currently in use for some teams and groups. Open house will be planned in the future when the final pieces are complete. And so we're all looking forward to that. And I wanted to also remind the public of the lead and copper inventory. Required to inventory 100% of our lines, including all private service lines. And we've collected about half of those. And it's a reminder that residents can go to the link there, or they can scan the QR code, reach out to the city water department if they have any questions or assistance, but this is just a very important thing that we get done. So we appreciate the public participation. And then the rec trail master plan, public input was solicited in creation of a plan. Public provided feedback either by an online survey or by attending the open house on Thursday, the 22nd of February. I went to the open house. I thought it was well ran and well attended. A lot of good feedback was given, a lot of interest and lots of good ideas, which is certainly what you hope for with an open house. And so it's good to see.
There were over 40 people there.
Yeah.
What was your participation on your survey, Ryan?
I'm not sure. I really didn't participate in that process myself. I kind of,
No, the.
Park and Rec Trail.
I really didn't get involved in that much at all. I mean, Jennifer from my office and Jameson and then Mike Gilmer taking the lead on that. And
I wish I have our list or.
Yeah.
Interested to know.
Yeah.
It sounds like they were very happy with participation,
Yeah.
but
I can't remember the number, but they were pleased with how many people given, yes.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions on that or comments of Ryan? Thank you. All right. There was no public.
Yeah, good work. Thank you.
Under announcements, our next regular board meeting will be March 18th, 2024. And again, I'll reiterate the board openings of the airport, 1 position, Parks and Rec Department, 1 position, Planning Commission, and that 3 positions. So Any other questions or comments? All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you, everyone, and welcome, Amy.
Thank you.
Yes.